Hola chicos! In this video, we'll be working on the objective of being able to type with Spanish accents, or as we know them, tildes. And so you might be like the cat in the GIF here thinking, what? ¿Qué? She really expect us to type all those goofy little characters? Yeah, I do. So let's talk a little bit about that and then let's look at how we can do it. In this video, I'm going to give you about 4 or 5 different strategies. If they work for you, super. If they don't work for you and something else does, also super. But the bottom line is you do have to use correct spelling and punctuation in Spanish, just like you would in English, right? So let's take a look. Here's an example of why it's so important to use correct spelling and punctuation. In the first line we have, ¿Está tu papá? So if you were calling on the phone, this might mean, is your dad there? Whereas in the second line we have no inverted question marks and no tildes. And these are completely separate words. So this one means, ¿Está tu papá? Or this your potato. Clearly not the same thing, okay? So we want to make sure we're always using that correct spelling and punctuation in order to communicate what we're actually trying to say. All right, so let's look at a couple strategies. Again, if these work for you, awesome. If you don't care for them, use something else, no worries. The first one, and this is the one that I do because I type in Spanish so much, is I actually just change my keyboard. And what that means is I don't take my keyboard out of my laptop and put another one on. That means when you're typing, for example, the L key is always L, right? But if you change what is underneath the keyboard, what the message is sent to the computer, then you can actually use different characters. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to open the control panel of my computer. Now, this is going to be different on every device. So if you're running Windows 8 or something else, or maybe you have a Mac and you're not sure how to do this, go ahead and jump into Google and just Google change language on keyboard and then whatever system you're running, okay? I'll show you how to do it on the system of Windows. So I'm opening my control panel. Now you can just search for language up here, or you can change the keyboard here. So your keyboard is probably in English unless you bought your computer abroad, which I think most of you did not. So let's back up. We're going to click on the Change Keyboards button, okay? And now we're going to add a keyboard. We already have the English one installed. That's the automatic one. We want to add a Spanish one. So you're going to scroll down this list to S, and you'll notice there's tons and tons of Spanish options. For our purposes in changing the keyboard, it doesn't matter which one you choose. I'm always going to choose Spanish Chile because I like Chile, so there's that. All right. So I'm going to click, yeah, I want the Latin American one. Once I've selected an actual keyboard, I can see preview. That's going to show me what the characters are going to be. So now maybe it's a little more clear what I mean by, for example, where normally you would have a semicolon and a colon, you now have the letter ñ. Where before up here, you had the squiggly little line, you now have this character, okay? Now, instead of our plus and minus, you have an upside down question mark. So these are some things that are going to be different. What the preview does not show you is what's going to happen when you use shift. That one you just kind of have to discover. So this looks good to me. I'm going to say OK, hit OK again, and now hit OK one more time. I'm going to open up anything I want. So I'm going to open up a new tab here. And I'm going to say, let's see, I want to type in Spanish. So I'm going to go down here. This is where your language bar is at. If you can't find your language bar, just Google how to find my language bar, okay? And I'm just going to click Spanish. Now, as I type, everything that's under my keys is now the Spanish characters. So let's say I'm searching for Día de los Muertos. And I've been able to actually use the I with an accent or the I with a tilde on it because I have the Spanish characters, okay? So this is going to work in any program, whether I'm in a browser, if I'm surfing the internet, whether I'm in a Microsoft Word or a similar Office program, whether you're typing in email, etc. It's going to work for everything because the actual keys have been changed, okay? If you're like, that seems confusing or that's a little complicated, Don't worry, here's a couple more options. The next best one, and I think this is often the simplest, is just to search online. So again, Google is your friend. Don't forget that. So let's say I just search Spanish accents and look at all these great results I get to help me. Once you've searched online, you have a couple options. If this one here, Spanish accents codes from, I believe that's Pennsylvania State. This one's great because if you have a desktop or a keyboard with the 10 key with the numbers on the side, you can actually push down Alt and hold it and type these codes, and those will give you the characters. Okay, so they've got capital letter, lowercase letter, whatever you need. So those are really awesome if you have a 10 key. If not, another option on any of these search results, this one's awesome. You can actually just select the one you want, and you could copy and paste it into the assignment that you're doing. Okay. This one gives you a little bit more info. It's got some info on Macs. If you're using a Mac, things are a little bit different. I'm sure you're used to that, okay? So those are just a couple options there. Now, what I recommend, instead of every time you do homework searching for these things, I recommend opening a notepad and just copying these characters into it. So I'm going to go ahead and select those, copy, paste them into it. And then I'm going to just save that notepad maybe on my desktop or somewhere convenient. And whenever I need it, I open it and I pull it up and it's there. Okay, so those are a couple more options. It's important to remember that the same rules of capitalization apply. What I mean by that is a lowercase a with a tilde is not the same as an uppercase A with a tilde. So just, that's great that you're using the tilde, but if it needs to be capital, it needs to be capital as well. So make sure you have all the characters you need. Okay, so those are some options there. So we just looked at saving a file with all the characters. You can do that in Word or Notepad, whatever you want. If you're using Microsoft Office products, there are a couple other shortcuts you can use, and there's two of them I'm going to show you now. The first one is inserting characters. So let's open a Word document, and I'm going to click up here, Insert. And over here, I'm going to click Symbol. Okay? Now, I'll be honest with you, I never ever use this strategy. So what I need isn't here, so I'm going to click More Symbols. And now you can probably see why I don't use this strategy. I don't think it's very efficient. You could look through this and find the subset that you need or browse through this whole thing. But honestly, it's not something that I personally care for. So there's that. If this is up your alley, go for it. All right? And the last thing you can do is Control apostrophe and then the letter you want. So if you are in Microsoft Office products like PowerPoint or Word, you can open a word. Let's say I want to type via. I'm using my English keyboard here. Oops. That's not going to cut it, right? Mrs. Ruiz is going to mark me as wrong spelling for that. So what I'm going to do is, just like our instructions say here, Control apostrophe letter. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to hold down Control, hit the apostrophe key, and let up both, and then I'm going to hit the I. Okay? And that's it. If you forget how to do it, just Google it. Okay? That works great. What's limiting about that is you can't use that if you're, for example, writing an email or you're searching for something in your web browser. It's not going to come up like that. So that's just one thing that's limiting. Again, these are just a couple strategies and methods that you can use to use correct spelling and punctuation when you're typing. If you have a different thing that works better for you, by all means, please use it, okay? What matters to me is that you're using that correct spelling and punctuation. If you have any questions or want me to explain something in more depth to you, let me know. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Bye!